Happy New Year to you, my brother.
Yeah, man.
How you feeling?
Top of the decade.
Top of the decade, man. How you feeling?
Man.
We getting ready for Super Bowl in Miami.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man.
What does that feel?
It's gonna be a big one, man.
Yo, the city's gonna be on fire.
It's gonna be on fire, especially the last couple of years. Been these cold markets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think people have been waiting.
for Super Bowl to come back.
Miami, yeah,
because it's been like 20 years, right, since the Super Bowl's been here. It's been a while.
Yeah, last time I think was 2009, actually.
Man, wait,
2009.
I missed that one.
Yeah, that's when the Saints won.
Oh, that's right. That's
I
right.
want to say 2009. And it was on fire back then.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's just it's so crazy how it's like Super Bowl 54 and it's LIV and then Live there. Like I'm wondering if like they
cahoots,
finagled that. If they finagled that like years back just to get ready for that. Yeah.
I was like, yo, Groot's the ultimate marketer,
bro. Right. You got a lot of things lined up for Super Bowl?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Actually, we're doing like the Sports Illustrated. With Black Eyed Peas and Marshmello. And we're doing Post Malone, Virginia Key. That's really cool. And then we're doing the opening for the Maroon 5 concert at the Super Bowl Music Fest at the arena. Yeah. And then we're doing the Players Tailgate, doing some stuff with Tidal and Wheezy at the Delano. Stella, Facebook. Wow. It's gonna be it's a not a busy week. It's a busy couple of days, man. But listen, that's how Super Bowl is. You just gotta go hard and do the damn thing.
This not your first Super Bowl being involved in Super Bowl.
No. Actually, I go to every market. I've been going to every market pretty much for the past probably like 15 years.
Oh wow, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
About 15 years.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy because right after I was doing a little bit of Super Bowl stuff before I started with the Heat, doing stuff with the NBA, and then I started doing All-Star Weekend my second year. Cause I've been with the Heat like 20 years now.
That's crazy.
Right, and then my second year with the Heat, I started doing All-Star, and then every year I was doing All-Star. It was also Super Bowl. Cause it was like 2 weeks apart. Right. You know.
Right. 20 years with the Heat, man. Like, how did you even get affiliated with the team and become the official Miami Heat DJ? Like, how does that happen?
Oh man, you ready for that story? What was wild was it didn't exist before.
Basketball team DJs?
No, not about basketball team. There was no professional sports franchise that had an official team DJ. It didn't exist at all, right? So the cool thing about it is Miami being Miami and being such a forward-thinking, progressive city, especially when it comes to entertainment, right? It was the 1999-2000 season, and it was the year that they were moving from the Miami Arena to the brand new American Airlines Arena, right? So the marketing crew in there was like, yo, we got this brand new facility, we gotta shake it up, you know what I mean? We gotta, let's do something new, let's add some new things, for the fans. And a bunch of ideas were thrown around, and one of the ideas that stuck was to have an in-game DJ, right? And some names were flying around, and my name got thrown into the mix. And a couple of folks that were on that committee were like, "Yo, yeah, we've seen them back then. It was at Level, Level nightclub, right?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, let's talk to him, right?" So check this out, 99, 2000, there was no social media, right? I wasn't even in the phone book. You know what I'm saying? So if you wanted to, book me for something, you have to either know somebody that knew me, you know what I mean, or have a connection already, right? And these folks didn't have any connection, So it's funny how things turned out. Just serendipitous was that, they came to the club, and the room that I was playing at Level, the boiler room, you had to go through the bar. You had to go behind the bar to get into the booth.
That's the first room, right? When you come in?
Yeah, right? You have to go to the bar. So no one can go in and just talk to me, which is like the best thing ever, but bad for business, but great for the party, right? Great for DJ, yeah. Bad for networking, you know what I'm saying? Because no one can go behind the bar. So they were there like trying to get my attention and whatever, and I'm just doing my thing, no one can get to me. So anyway, just so happens I do a party on Hibiscus Island. It was a radio station party for Gerald Levert, right? And this guy strolls into the party, right? And I can tell, it was like 30 people, right? It was radio winners, right? This guy shows into the party. And I'm like, man, this guy doesn't belong, man. You know, like, who is this dude, right? But he comes right up to me. He's like, yo, man, hey, I enjoy your music. You know, I'm like, oh, hey, okay, who are you, right? And he's like, hey, listen, man, I'm having a birthday party real soon. On the book for my birthday party. I'm like, who are you? Where do you live? He's like, oh, I live like 2 blocks down. I go, you live on the island? I go, okay, yeah, we can work that out. You can make that happen. Think of my digits, man. We can work that out. You know, you're gonna be able to pay the fee. We good. So anyway, I do this party, and there's like some Heat coaches there, and there's a couple players. I'm like, damn, who is this guy? I guess he's like affiliated with the Heat, whatever. Next thing you know, he goes back to work. He's walking down the hall. He overhears people in the meeting saying, man, we're trying to figure out a way to get a hold of DJ IRIE. You know, he stops, goes back in the meeting and says, wait a minute, did you say you're trying to reach DJ IRIE? They're like, yeah. He's like, oh, he did my birthday party like 2 days ago. I can call him for you. He calls me. I go down there, meet with them. I say thanks, but no thanks. There's this thing called when keeping it real goes wrong. I was on the verge. I was on the cusp, you know what I mean? You know, because I was in there, I was like, at that time, you know, I had like the #1 radio, mix show, you know, and I was breaking all the new hip hop joints, you know what I mean? And my room was the hip hop room, you know, and basically, you know, and I'm, you know, breaking reggae music and all that, you know, and that's what I'm doing, you know. I knew I had the vocabulary, but I was like, oh no, if I do this, I gotta go play some other stuff, you know. I gotta, you know, play some Barbie Girl and all that, you know. And I was like, oh, that's not on brand for me, you know. And so I walked away. And thank God there was something that really struck a chord with them in that meeting. They were like, you know what, we got to talk to him again. You know, we didn't even get to, you know, get past go, you know. And out of respect for, you know, my buddy, you know, that I did the party for, he asked me to just come and talk to him one more time. I came back, and what really hooked me was the fact that when I asked them, okay, well, how are they doing this in New York? And how are they doing it in LA and all those other markets? And they're like, we've done extensive research, right? It hasn't been done anywhere. No team has an official DJ, and that's why we are really, really want to try this with you, because we think you're the guy to get it off the ground, you know? And I was like, well, if no one's ever done it before, I said, even if it fails, we're still the first, right? And that's how it came together.
You pioneered the professional sports team DJ.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
And you know the best thing about it? Literally the best thing about it, I mean, listen, 3 rings, that's amazing. Having that experience, you know, the championship, all that stuff's amazing. All-star, all that stuff's amazing. But the most amazing thing is, especially now when I travel to other cities and I go visit other arenas, and I you know, look in the corner or courtside, and I see DJ such and such rocking, you know what I'm saying? And now this is another, you know, level to his or her career, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that we're able to, you know, make it successful in Miami, so many other teams, you know, said, wow, you know, how can we implement that, you know, back in our market, you know? And now it's like, it's commonplace. There's more teams that have DJs than don't, you know? And it's proliferated to the NFL, it's proliferated to Major League baseball, you know what I'm saying? It's proliferated to soccer, you know, to college sports, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's just awesome.
Even to do that, right? And that being a milestone and trailblazing in itself, at that point you'd been DJing for how long when you started with the Heat?
Started with the Heat, I was probably in the game maybe about 6 years, 5-6 years maybe.
Where did you have the thought where it says you wake up one day and you're like, I want to be a professional DJ? Like what happens in your life where you make that decision?
Well, here's what happened to me, right? It was my senior year in high school going into college, right? Because I got my first, you know, DJ opportunity in my senior year of high school, right? And it was kind of a fluke, you know what I mean? It wasn't something that because I didn't think I even could do it, you know? But it was a kind of a fluke opportunity, and it worked out, and that opportunity led to another opportunity, right? And now going through college, right, 2 really important things happened, right? The first thing was I got a scholarship, I got a full scholarship. My first one in my family got a full. I mean, listen, believe it or not, I can add. 2 + 2, I got that. You know what I'm saying? I was killing my arithmetic. You know what I'm saying? I was a pretty good student. And I got a full scholarship to go to FIU, right? And my parents were so incredibly proud, right? And you can relate to this because having Caribbean, parents, can be the best thing and the worst at the same damn time, right? So what happened was, I get the scholarship. They're all extremely proud of me. The whole world knows, what I'm saying? They amplify, what I'm saying? They amplify that, right? So now I'm going through, and this time I'm DJing. A couple of parties here or there, just if I get called to do something, all right, cool, we'll do it, make a couple of dollars here or there. Not taking anything serious. But now by my second year, right, I'm doing like 4 or 5 times a week, right? I'm making okay money, especially for someone that's in college, don't have any real, expenses, right? But what happens is, my schoolwork starts suffering, right? I'm late to classes, I'm out there DJing until 4 o'clock in the morning, what I'm saying? I got 8 a.m. classes, I'm in classes, I'm sleeping. I lose my scholarship. Right? There's no way my parents can find out I lost the scholarship. That's just not an option. Or we wouldn't be sitting here today.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? This would be in memoriam, of a great guy I used to know, what I'm saying? They wouldn't be having it, what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, I still got to go to school. They can't find out. So, I got to just pay for it myself. So now the whole game flipped. So now instead of buying my Jordans and putting rims on the car and the sound system and taking the homies out, right? All that stopped. Bank account. Saving every single dollar from every gig. And then next thing you know, top of the semester, cutting that check. That tuition check, right? Cutting those books, pay for the books, you know what I mean? And now, because I'm cutting that check of the money that, I earned, I'm like, I gotta get my money's worth. So I'm still out till 4 o'clock in the morning, but guess what? I'm at class 30 minutes early, right? And if I don't understand something, I'm like, hey, we gotta stay behind because I gotta get this,
Now you're paying for it. Now you're
I'm paying for it. I gotta get the value.
Yeah.
It's the value of your work and your money. You know what I mean? I gotta have something to show for it. And I did that all the way through to graduation.
What was your major? What did you major?
At first, I was on the medical track, right? Yeah. Listen, remember, Caribbean parents.
Yeah.
Listen. You can be anything you want. They tell me anything in the world as long as you're a doctor or a lawyer. Be whatever you want. As long as you're a doctor or lawyer, then we good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can live. So and then later on, I switched to mass communications.
Okay.
Because I wanted to understand journalism and radio, and all that stuff. So
That was mine. I might majored in broadcast journalism at FAMU.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. And to tell you the truth, that was huge for me too, because that's what really gave me my entryway into 99 Jams, into radio, because they arranged the internship for me, right?
Okay.
And through the internship, I went from just getting coffee and stuff to producing. Basically, it was Albie Silk.
Yeah, I remember Albie Silk.
I was producing his show, right? I was doing that for at least like a year or two, right? And then he came out to a club one night, didn't know I was DJing. I'm DJing. He's like, Ian? What are you doing back there going chickie chickie? What are you doing? Get out of there! Like before someone discovers you, And I'm like, he goes, you're DJ IRIE? I'm like, oh yeah. He goes, why the hell aren't you DJing on the show? I was like, and that's how I started doing the mix show.
Was radio different back then as a radio DJ back then?
Absolutely, man. It was different and it was amazing. I mean, I transitioned out of radio right at the time where DJs started getting a lot more playlisted.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Actually, I think that's probably the common practice now. But you know, when I got into radio, it was like I had my either 30 minutes if it was like a quick mix or whatever, or my hour to do whatever I wanted. It was no handcuffs, no rules whatsoever, and my goal was to, in understanding radio at that time, I understood about having the hits in there, but I also understood that this is a platform where I can educate my listeners, right? And I can introduce new music and new artists, in a way that is a little bit more impressionable. It's not just to get, I'm bringing it back, what I'm saying? I'm dropping the sound effects in there. I'm like, yo, this is that, you know what I'm saying? Right. So like, okay, wow, okay, I need to really listen to this, and it's great because during that time, I helped break DMX, Ludacris, T-Pain. I mean, I can go on for days. You know what I mean? Like literally, like being the first one in the country playing a lot of these songs. And I didn't have to run it by anybody. Right. It was great. It was the best.
What do you think changed? Like, why did radio change into becoming so playlisted now?
It's called corporate and money. Period. Right. I mean, and I get it. Listen, it's a lot of. Radio is it's a big business, right? It's a lot of money behind it, but there's two forces that you got to understand, and it's obviously on the radio side, right, and the label side, that relationship, right? That's a relationship that is just so intertwined and so kind of incestuous. It kind of got to the point where the labels, started, having more influence than I believe that they should. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. In a perfect world, labels put out music and radio can sit back and be like, okay, I'm gonna take your best stuff, and do what we're gonna do. And it got to a point where now the labels say, okay, if we made it, then you gotta play it somehow. You know what I mean? Even if it's not something that you necessarily want to play. Right. And so that was I think that's part of the issue. And the other thing was, and it's true, pay to play, it's real, it happens, and back then, did it happen? Absolutely, it happened. It wasn't me. Right. I was making my club money. I'm good, I'm trying to keep my integrity. If I play something, that it is certified that I am 100% behind this record, I thought that was really important to me, and it was really important to a lot of other DJs, but for some, it was like, okay, I got this platform, I'm ready to do whatever is most beneficial to me. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that was a real thing, So I think part of that was kind of cracking down, on that, on those liberties to say, okay, you got to stay within this realm, because these are all vetted and this is what we want you guys to do, right. So they're kind of curb that opportunity for folks to do that,
It's a couple of areas I want to go, but one thing I want to know is when you first started out, right now, this is like your Level days, your South Beach days, early 99, early 2000s. Were you ever opening for someone, or did you come into the game
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Oh, hell yeah, man. Listen, I used to open for Scribble, for Jam Master Jay, God bless his soul.
You opened for Jam Master Jay?
I did, man. I did at FAU. At FAU. And the funny thing about it, man, every single one of, these are all DJs that I, to this day revere and really look up to. And, many of them became really good friends, you know what I mean? And have, done things in support of me in my career. And not only was it humbling, because also at the same time, I was also doing my own headlining, at other shows, at other clubs. Right. So this was all kind of happening at the same time, but it was really great to kind of have that contrast, right? Because, no matter what, if I am on the bill, my job is to rock out, right? But I also understand, okay, if I'm in an opening situation, right? The opener is the opener. The headliner is the headliner, right? I am not the headliner, right? So I'm not going to do what I would do if as the headliner. You see what I'm saying? But guess what? it gives you another level of creativity.
Absolutely.
Though, right? To go in certain lanes, right, and play certain records that you wouldn't even usually play as a headliner, but you can play it and have a great reception.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There was a guy that used to open for me at when I was doing Opium back in the day, right?
Yeah.
You know E-Rock?
Uh-uh.
Okay. He's I mean, man, this kid, I met him at another party I was doing, and he was amazing. I said, man, I'm gonna tell the club to get you to open, right? And I would come into that party early, at least an hour and a half early, right? And vibe, right? And this dude would put on a clinic. Okay, I'm telling you, the energy would be through the roof. People singing. I mean, it was a vibe. And guess what? He wouldn't play not even one song that I was gonna play. Not one mega hit now. And everything, I'd be like, amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's what it's about. You know what I mean? Like, you can do that and get that kind of reception and have that kind of success, and then still transition and have a whole other experience, you know, with the headline. I think that's magical. You know?
Is it that catch-22 where, you know, like you say, artistically you can be more free and do more as an opener, but the bigger money is when you're headlining. So it's like you ultimately have to decide for yourself, like, what is it you want?
Right. But and then it's also subjective, because, you know, in a lot of what we do, you know, in our genre, you know, we are, you know, playing to the masses, right? And we are, you know, satisfying, you know, folks that a lot of times are really into what's popular, right? And what's popular is not so much about, okay, this is a particular, you know, obscure genre, you know, that we're in, where you can just do that and they're going to eat it up. You know what I mean? So, but in our lane, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, because, you know, you got to give them what they want. You know, it's not about just what I like or what you like, you know, because if we approach it that way, it might not translate. I mean, it's probably dead, because a lot of times we might be so ahead of the curve, and we do music, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, okay, cool. Listen, if I were to go in and play everything that folks would be like, word, like, I want to shake my ass a little bit though, you know, you know what I'm saying? You know, we have some other stuff, you know, but we dig it all, you know. But if it was just my taste and what, you know, it might not translate, you know.
And so it's always like trying to find those little nuances where you're like, let me give you a little bit of what I like, but a little bit of what you want, and it's like this constant back and forth thing.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, you still want to have your identity. Absolutely. You know what I mean? You still want to have your identity, and listen, music is so incredible, you know, in that, and it's so plentiful, right? And the creativity, there's no bounds to the creativity, right? So it's all about how we approach it, right? It's like, you know, being a chef and having every ingredient, you know, known, you know, to work with. You can go and whip up whatever you want, you know what I mean? And whatever style you want, you know? So it's like, okay, you know, how do you make this yours, right? How do you make this your brand? You know, it's all, you know, we all have the same ingredients. Right. Music is music.
Music is music, yeah.
It's all out there, right? Yeah. But what are you going to do? How are you going to bend and twist, you know, and manipulate, you know, into something that is, at the end of the day, a product that's available to everyone is now unique, right? And not only unique, but if anyone sees that product, they're like, oh, that's a Fly Guys product, right? That's Irish product, you know?
I think it's like, you know, the creation of the streaming service, it did level the playing field for us, because as opposed to back in the day where I guess you were only as creative as your record collection, and maybe your record collection was based on your finances, because the more money you had, the more records you could buy.
The barriers of entry were plentiful, and I think it was a great thing and a not so great thing, because it definitely sucks when someone has the skill, the ability, the drive, and the only thing holding them back is their resources. Right. You know what I mean? I think that's a terrible thing, right? But it's also a terrible thing that when somebody doesn't have the skill, ability, drive, but they have the resources, right? And they can just buy whatever they need, and they know a couple of promoter homies because they bought a couple balls from them, and now they're a DJ. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's both ways.
Right.
It's another catch-22. But just in any business, the cream rises to the top.
Yeah.
Right. So if you were to ask me, okay, is it better to have technology and have the floodgates open, or kind of go back 20 years? I would take the barriers of entry because, at the end of the day, if you are really steadfast and say, you know what, this is my destiny, right? And this is what, you make it happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You make it happen. I think it's good to have those barriers kind of weed out the folks that don't really want it as bad and aren't willing to put in the work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not willing to go the extra mile, That's just my take,
I think one thing I've heard about myself, what people have said about me, is when they come see me play, like they can see the passion, and they can, and it's like,
and that's part of your brand. That's what makes.
I just don't know. I don't know any other way to do it. I'm like, how does a DJ not be passionate about playing his music and making these people feel good? Like,
I don't know how, but listen, I can't tell you. There's many times I walk into a venue, and I'm like, oh man, this playlist is dope. Okay, because I'm like, there's a DJ here. Like, you're a live person, And the question is going, yeah. But the music's great, you know what I'm saying? But my thing is, like, if you're doing music, music is gets in your soul, in your bones, you know what I mean? There's like, to see somebody DJing and not even bobbing their head,
crazy,
is the craziest thing to me ever. Yeah. I'm like, yo, you are definitely doing a job. Yeah. Like, you are working right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are literally, like, this is your occupation. You are putting in your 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Like, man, if you're a DJ and you've gotten there because you're passionate about music, there is listen, you can have a goddamn broken neck. You're gonna be, you know what I'm saying? you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're gonna make it happen. You can't not catch a vibe. You know what I'm saying? But that's just something that we share.
It's something, when they used to say, I used to hear that mathematics was the universal language.
Yeah.
But to me, like, I went to Switzerland maybe 3 years ago, and that's when I realized, to me, music is the universal language.
There's absolutely no question about it. You can go to the far corners of the world, right? And there's most likely music that is native to them, but you'll always see some influence of music from an outside nation, right, or outside culture. You know what I mean? Like, it never fails.
Right.
It never fails, because music is felt. It's heard, but it's felt more than anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Think
Especially
about listening to music, and here's the thing about it. Look at Despacito.
Okay.
Right? Despacito. More than half of the audience that propelled that song to #1 had no idea what the song was saying. You know what I'm saying? Because it speaks Spanish. You know what I mean? But you felt it.
Right.
You felt the melody. You felt the groove. You know what I mean? That's why music is more than just hearing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And more than understanding.
Right.
The understanding comes from how it makes you feel.
Right.
And if you hear a melody, whatever, and it makes you feel good, you're in. And that's what's so universal about it.
That's the one thing I was trying to explain to my brothers. We were having a conversation about music over Christmas, and they're older than me, so their affinity for hip hop is more old school. Obviously, they can't really get into a lot of the new stuff. And even for me, maybe 5-6 years ago, I was a little hesitant and reluctant to.
Right.
This is not this is bullshit, whatever. But
disposable rap.
I started to understand, like you're saying, it's a feeling, because it's almost like with singing. It's not necessarily what they're saying, it's how they're saying it. It's how it sounds.
Absolutely.
And it's the sound that makes you feel something.
Absolutely.
So with a lot of the new age hip hop and rappers, they make you feel something, because it feels good when you hear it. It makes you feel something.
You may not understand, all lingo and everything, but
you can't deny it.
hey, it's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
what that guy said. You know what I mean?
I know what he said, but I feel it though.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, listen, I'm guilty. I'd be right in the booth, be like, skeet, skeet, skeet. You know what I'm saying? I'm all the way in. You know what I mean? That song's amazing. You know?
Especially when it's loud and the confetti and the smoke and the crowd.
You know what I mean? That's my favorite. You know?
Yeah. Now, have you always DJ'd the same way, or has your style evolved over the years?
Oh no, definitely. You might hear a lot of DJs say this, and I wholeheartedly attest to it. You know, I came up at a time where I was like, listen, I had a wide vocabulary of music due to my background, upbringing, you know, and you know the different cultures I was exposed to, right? So I was, you know, from back in the day, proficient in the European scene, proficient in Latin, right? Proficient in Caribbean, you know, but I also came up in a place where, okay, cool, this is the Latin scene, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do the Ocean Drive and Espanol party. Cool, I got that, right? I'm gonna do this Caribbean party, you know what I mean? Cool, got that, right? But there wasn't any cross-pollination.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it literally wasn't until I did a gig with AM and did a gig with Mark Ronson and these guys, right? And when I tell you, just blew me away and opened a whole new world, right, of their approach, you know, to not only DJing but music, right? And it was like, no, you don't have to have the tunnel vision on, you know what I mean? Like, blow that up, you know what I mean? And you can play music, you know, and that doesn't work everywhere, you know, it doesn't work everywhere, you know, and sometimes you will have a crowd that all they want to hear is, you know, whatever it is. But seeing that, you know, changed my whole perspective, you know, of DJing, you know, and that's where, and not only changed my perspective, it actually opened up, you know, my marketability, you know, because I wasn't just doing the hip hop stuff, or the, you know, I was doing stuff where I can go and play some rock, right, you know what I mean, and play some Latin, and you know, and have it feel seamless, right, you know what I'm saying, and so that was probably the big shift, you know, for me, and that influence and that shift is something that still carries over today.
There's some people that, you know, they'll hit me up in DMs or something, they'll tell me that, you know, I inspire them and you know, stuff like that, interviews and stuff like that. But when people ask me about who inspires me, besides my brothers, you're like the first name that I say. I don't know if you know this or not, but you are a huge inspiration to me.
That,
number one, because, you know, full transparency, you were doing for black DJs what seems unattainable, or seemed unattainable till you say cross-pollinated the shit.
Right.
So I remember this is a few years ago. I was driving down 395 coming to the beach, and I saw a taxi cab with your picture on it, but it was promoting a club in Vegas.
Right.
I think it was like Hakkasan or something. And I was like,
wait, what?
I said, that's exactly what I'm aiming for in a sense. Like, because why, number one, or well, no, not even why, but how do you get a taxi company with that type of promotion for you promoting something in Vegas
here in Miami?
Like, how does that even happen?
It's wild. But you know what? Here's the thing. You know, when you are so laser focused on your craft, right? But just to go around and say, a lot of people will ask me, you know, what were your goals for this? What were your goals for that? What were your goals for, you know, like, you know, was it a goal of mine to, you know, have a residency in Vegas and have, you know, me promoted on taxi cabs and billboards and all that kind of stuff? And the answer is a profound no. You know, was it a goal to DJ on Good Morning America, you know, or the Heat or whatever? All of it is no, and no, right? And the reason is, and I'm saying, listen, I'm not an anti-goal person, right? I think goals can be great, but in my particular situation, right, and in my particular career path, right, the sky is the limit, right? Imagination is your only limitation, right? I could have never said, you know what? I like the Miami Heat. I'm gonna be the first official DJ of the Miami Heat, right? I could have never have dreamt like, oh man, Robin Williams, you know, Michael Strahan, you know, shoot, they can get DJ IRIE on there DJing too. You know what I'm saying? You can't dream of these things, right? But what you can do, and another thing too is like, if I were to say, okay, you know, my goal is to, you know, DJ for Google, right? Then guess what I'm gonna do? Every move that I make is gonna be to try to get a step closer to that, you know what I'm saying? And that means there could be this over here, and this over there, and this over there, and this over here, that I'm totally gonna bypass and miss out on because it's not a part of me getting to here. You see what I'm saying? So my approach was more of what are the qualities that any company, any brand, any individual would want, would be desirable of in a DJ. My goal is to maximize all of those qualities consistently, right? Effectively, to the best of my ability. So that any opportunity that comes up that's for me, I've removed all barriers for them to say, nah, he's great, but you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, I like this about him, but you know, I want to remove all of those. So if the opportunity is there for me, the path is clear to say, let's do it, right? No matter what the opportunity is. So that's why in any event that I do, whether it be, you know, huge event with 5,000 people, or it be a intimate corporate event, you know, whatever it be, you still go in there with the same high level of professionalism, right? That same high level of execution, right? No matter what, right? That same high level of having a networking mindset, because I think a lot of DJs miss out on a ton of opportunity because they approach a gig as a gig, right? Yeah. Okay, that's all. If that's what that's all well and good, but at the end of the day, you are trying to run a business.
That's a fact,
right? Yeah. And running a business is called growth, right? And so to grow your business, you have to grow your network, you have to grow your client base, right? So a gig is not really a gig. A gig is a platform to market your service, right? A gig is a platform to meet new people, make new connections, to be converted to be future clients, right? And if you approach it with all those things in mind, every gig you do, you should be growing your business 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%, right? And guess what? It compounds, right? Compounds. You want to be, like I said before, okay, I want to do it for Google one day. You know what? I did a tech event. It wasn't for Google, right? There was a Google person there, right? Met that person. That person wasn't even the person that did anything with entertainment, but they knew the person. They went back to the person and said, man, I was at this party with this DJ IRIE guy, man, he was awesome. You should give him a call next time you do something. And they gave a call.
So you did DJ for Google?
Many times. but it wasn't a goal.
Right.
Like I would have said and told you, man, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But I never set out for it to be a goal. But I did end up in a situation where I'm DJing an event in a tech space. And I said, okay, there's some people here to meet, right? Right. And I made sure, and said, oh, okay, that's such and such. Lay in the cut. Hey, you know, I'm such a, you know, one of the only goals that I set to and materialized was I'm a huge Sam Jackson fan.
Okay, yeah.
Listen, I'm about to say the MF word just to show him love, you know what I'm saying? But I'm a huge Sam Jackson fan, and you know what? And sometimes it's crazy because in your mind, you can manifest things, right? Just by not only keeping it top of mind, but the energy you exude and the people you're around. And that's probably one of the things, listen, man, I did the World Cup in Brazil. You know what I mean? Like I've done some incredible like things that I could never dreamt that I would be able to do. But I was like, man, I would love to DJ for Sam Jackson. Seriously. And you know what? And it's something like this was all in the back of my, because I was know a ton of celebrities and DJed a ton of celebrity parties and all that. And I'd never met them before. I never did anything with them before. And we get a call. This is just last year. We get a call from a client that I'd worked with before. Her name is, I got to give her props because she's one of the best event producers on the planet. Her name is Diane Valentine. She's amazing. And she didn't even know this, but she reaches out and says, listen, I got a special party you need to do. She tells me, for Miss Jackson, and I'm okay, well, we'll do part of Miss Jackson. I trust you, because Diane, she does like listen, she takes you as a client. Yeah. First of all, you got to be able to afford her. Second of all, she's got to be like, she's got to want to do it. Right. She's on that level, So listen, if Diane, if you want to do it, then I want to do it. We right there, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, yeah, let's do it. And it wasn't until down the line that she's like, by the way, you know who her husband is, right? I go, no. She's like, oh, Samuel Jackson's, wife. I go, these there? L with the L in the middle, like L Jackson, And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, God, you out there wilding, bro. Right? But listen, but then, I don't want to be like that dude, So I'm like the day comes, we're doing the party, right? And this is the most beautiful, amazing spectacle. It's up there, man. It's up there, right? This thing's amazing. So another thing, remember, you manifest things, right? So this is pre-party. I haven't, the party didn't start yet. We got like a little mix in the background, a little cocktail hour thing, whatever. And I'm standing right by the bar, right? So we're getting ready to wind down to go into the main room, right? And I'm about to, turn around, leave from the bar. Who walks up right next to me? Sam Jackson. God damn. Right? And I'm like, remember, not to use that, and I'm like, all that's going out the window today. I was like, Mr. Jackson, sir! You don't know me, but I know you! Right. Man, I'm like, listen, I stopped and I said, matter of fact, he was the first one to say, hey man, how you doing? I was like, actually, I'm doing great, Yeah. And I was like, man, listen, I've always wanted to meet you, and I'm just feel so honored because I'm going to entertain you guys tonight. I'm going to be the main DJ. And he's like, you shake me, huh? He's like, motherfucker, you better be good. No. But he was like, man, I'm sorry. He's like, listen, man. He's like, if you here, I know you're gonna fuck shit up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I was like, man, I got. Anyway, we do the party. The party is amazing. And he's just awesome guy. He comes right up to me with his wife. He says, listen, you're not gonna get away without taking a picture with us, Man. And that turned into like 15 pictures and hanging out. And it was. I was like, man. And I got paid to be here. I feel guilty now, I gotta donate the money or something. It was like the best time ever. But it's funny because you have these opportunities, you manifest them. If I would have said to myself, hey, you know what, my goal is, you might reach your goal, you might not. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But if you really just focus on being the best you that you can be, and it's not for everybody, but I'm saying for me, I focus on being the best me that I can be, and I focus on being, crossing all the boxes off, you know what I mean, in terms of, what is important in being a professional, DJ. And I believed that would speak for itself,
Did you have any resistance, like when you first started, like coming out? Was it hard to get work?
Well, you know what? Not that it was. Well, I had resistance in being the DJ that I wanted to be, because here's the thing about it. Everyone has an opinion. That's a fact. Okay? Yeah. Everyone has an opinion, and everyone has a perception. Okay? And you can succumb to the opinions and the perceptions around you, or you can dictate what that perception is, right? And I came to a crossroads where I'm doing, because I wanted to, my thing was this: if I'm a DJ and I know I have this musical vocabulary. I know I have this ability where I can entertain this audience and this audience and that audience and a mix of these audiences, right? I know I have that ability. Why would I be okay and satisfied with just being in this corner, in this little box right here, right? And what happened was I was in this box and I put myself in that box because of everything I was doing. It was the hip hop box, right? I'm doing hip hop radio, I'm doing hip hop parties, whatever. And he's the hip hop guy, right? And I'm sitting, you know what burned me to pieces? Even though I was still getting paid, and it still burned me. It was the very first year that I was DJing on the beach, like consistently. You know, I was doing like 4 or 5 nights, you know, in the top clubs on the beach. And then Winter Music Conference came around. And I got the call, hey, you're off this night, you're off that. Don't worry, we're still gonna pay you, you know, and I didn't work at all, you know, that week. And I was like, wow. I said, I'm messing up. I said, I'm messing up. And I was like, and I wasn't satisfied with the fact that, okay, yeah, I still, you know, got paid. It's the fact that they're like, oh, this guy is no use to us.
Right. He can't play during this time.
Exactly. You know, there's no place for him. And by the way, a lot of that music that's being played is stuff that I loved.
Right.
You know what I mean? I loved a lot of that stuff. You know, I was playing it in my car. You know what I mean? You know, I could do it. I just didn't have any venue to show that. You know, and that changed everything. You know, for me, in that I was like, you know what? I don't care about what your perceptions are. I'm gonna show you who I am. Right. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna play at clubs that don't play any hip hop. You know what I mean? I did a rock night for Roman, right? It's like back in the day, you know. And I started doing things. I started doing a lot of stuff with Ocean Drive magazine. They had an Ocean Drive in Espanol, which was like they had Enrique Iglesias hosting. It was the biggest thing ever. And I called Jerry Powers at the time. The guy was running. And I said, hey, Jerry, by the way, you know we do all this stuff together. I know you got the Ocean Drive Espanol coming up. By the way, I can do that.
Right. Just in case you
really? Yeah, right. I know I may not be known as, but I can do that. Yeah. And he was like, and you know what? They booked me for it, and it was amazing, you know. But that started. My thing was like, you know, just because something rolls around, whatever, I shouldn't be on the sidelines. I should be participating because we have the skill level, we have the ability, we have the musical vocabulary. Yeah. You know, to be a part of it. I'm not your hip hop DJ. I'm not your house DJ. Whatever. I'm an entertainer. Okay, I'm an entertainer. You put me into the situation that I need to entertain the audience, then I'm going to entertain the audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's still something. You know, I've heard that, you know, you're too urban, or you know, and it's like, right. How do you even know that? You know?
Right.
And it's, well, we came to see you play here. I'm like, yeah, but I tailored that set for that room. I could tailor that for this room, and then, you know, people don't understand. Like, same way you say you did the World Cup, I did the Copa America Centenario, right? And I traveled around the country playing in stadiums, 80,000 people. Right. 90% Latin music, right? And I did that for 2 months straight, you know. And it's like, but I think sometimes, number one, I don't put out there what I've done enough, because I try to remain in a humble space. Yeah. You know,
but listen, no one's gonna market you better than you. You know, no one's gonna market, and no one is gonna understand your capabilities and your drive, motivation better than you. You know, I was the same way. Listen, I still consider myself a very humble person, just by nature. You know, but you also got to put on that business cap and say, okay, you know what? You being a fly guy and that being your brand is no different than American Airlines, no different than General Electric, no different than a Spotify. Whatever. It's you are a brand, you are a business, right? And what do brands do? They market, right? They do R&D, right? They do develop, you know, all kinds of development, whatever. You gotta look at yourself and say, okay, wow, I gotta be doing all of these things in some way, shape, or form, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about growing the brand and growing your business, right?
Is that where the creation of IRIE Weekend came to fruition?
That's part of it. Well, IRIE Weekend came about.
Well, I'm sorry, IRIE Foundation.
Well, IRIE Foundation. Well, actually, IRIE Weekend was here before IRIE Foundation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, And the thing with IRIE Weekend, I was kind of seeing what was going on. And IRIE Weekend just celebrated 15 years, right? Thank you, man. It's kind of weird even just saying that, you know? It really is, man. And God knows it hasn't been easy, right? But when I was, coming up with that concept, I was kind of looking at what was going on, around the country, looking at what's going on in the market, right? And one thing that I realized was like, wow, when Alonzo's doing his thing and he makes that call, I'm there for him, And when Shaq needed me, I was there for him. Jason Taylor, Dan Marino, you name it, all these personalities, right? And then brands, hey, we're doing this, can you come on? I was like, yeah. And it was always yes, yeah. If I could physically do it, I'd be there, right? And I was like, you know what? I'm never asking for anything, That's just my nature. But I was like, you know what? There's some causes that are important to me. There's things that I want to, put my stamp on and say, wow, I'm helping to improve this particular situation. I actually be able to pick up the phone and call a lot of these same people and say, hey, man, now I need you, right. And that's kind of how it started, and what was amazing about it was that, every time I picked up the phone, it was yes, absolutely, we got you, we there, because they knew, when I had them, it was out of a place from the heart, in a genuine place, of wanting to help. And, and the beautiful thing about it is, obviously the growth, and, especially for folks coming from out of town, coming in and experiencing it. But that was the origins, of it. And then it was probably about 4 years after the very first IRIE Weekend that we started the IRIE Foundation. And that was out of, okay, cool, we're helping a lot of these areas, but these are areas that other organizations are also helping, right? And I started to see some things, because now I'm out in the community a lot more, I'm starting to see a lot more things with my own eyes. And I started, identifying some areas that weren't really getting any attention, or the attention that it deserved, or the resources that it deserved. And I was like, all right, well, instead of sitting here saying, hey guys, you might do something about it, I'll do something about it, and hopefully lead by example. And that's where we started the IRIE Foundation.
What's on the 2020 new decade for IRIE? What's next?
I'm just trying to get through Super Bowl, bro. No, listen. We're really, really excited about 2020. Not only do we have a lot of stuff going on with Super Bowl, but I'm actually producing. This is my first time producing an event at Super Bowl. We've had an incredible relationship with the folks over at the Surf Corner. That's what we did our big 11 Beach Bash pool event, right? Which is Future, Sweetie performed. It was amazing, and it's just such a dynamic place that we made the investment and the commitment to host a number of events there this Super Bowl. So it is nerve-wracking, but also exciting, And outside of that, we're looking to, IRIE Weekend has moved to October, moved to the fall. It's been in the summer every year. This is the first year last year was the first year moved to the fall, which is, I don't know what the heck I was thinking the past 14 years before that, but it's really just the perfect time of the year for it, So we're going to keep it there, and we're in the process of creating a new brand and a new event entity that will have new components, something that's a little bit more, I think, suitable for the summer, right? And we're going to launch that this year, right? And then lead up into the main event in October. And we're starting to do some. Last year, the first year, we actually did a destination event. We did Vegas. Oh, dope. Yeah, we did. It was a 1-day thing in Vegas. We're looking to expand that and do at least a 2-3 day in Vegas this year as well, as a Road to IRIE Weekend event. So that's really the main thing. More than anything, our focus is to expand that footprint, beyond South Florida.
That's another thing, man. Driving over 395, I would see those IRIE weekend banners on the light poles. And, you know, because I have this thing. My birthday weekend. My birthday's May 8th.
Right.
So I always celebrate May 5th, Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
That's Cinco de Flyo.
See, hey, by the way, it's on Taco Tuesday this year.
Oh man, it's already. I'm trying to put the pieces in play, but
yeah, that's gonna be big.
Like seeing the IRIE weekend flags and banners, I'm like, I want to be able to get Cinco de Flyo weekend,
right?
Like city sanctioned and figure out how to go about those steps of actually getting it recognized by the city and making it an official thing.
I can tell you right now, because we're on camera, any way I can help, any guidance and advice I can lend to you in achieving that, I'm in.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. And wait, and one question: is it true you used to DJ at Hot Wheels?
Used to DJ. I started at Hot Wheels, man. Did you? That was. How about this, right? It wasn't my very first. I'll tell you the story like real quick. I'm usually super long-winded on this story, but I'm gonna give you the short version, right? I'm in my senior year of high school. Right.
Where'd you go to high school?
Palmetto Senior High.
I went to Killian.
Went to Killian?
Yeah.
We cool. If you went to Scum Set, that'd be a problem. And then you went to Scum Set, you know.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Killian, we good. We like Killian.
Damn, I heard that.
We good. Scum Set. So I was collecting records, right? And this girl that I had a big crush on, she came over, she saw the records in my room. And I was scared of her seeing them because I thought she was gonna be I'm a big, nerd for collecting records. But she saw them and she assumed that I was a DJ. She's like, "Oh my God, look at those records! I love DJs." I was like, "I'm your boy." Right? Listen, by the way, the record player that I had was the belt drive, direct drive, meaning that you put the record on, you press the button, and the arm goes, right, stuff like that. And I was like, "Oh, I'm the best DJ ever," you know what I'm saying? So anyway, and I went along with it, right? Her dad was the general manager of Planet Hollywood in the Grove. So she ended up telling her dad to book me for their New Year's party, right? I never did it ever before. I just played a bunch of songs that I thought were good songs, and it worked out. People had fun. They were drunk, so that worked a lot well. And he called me back and said, "Hey, you should come DJ at the restaurant. Like we have a whole vibe there. I think it'd be awesome to have a DJ down there." I was like, "All right." And that went awesome, but my parents flipped out because I was getting home at like 3 in the morning, and I'm still in high school, right. They're like, all that credit, dead it. Right? Yeah. And right when that happened, I was also working at Hot Wheels as a skate guard. Oh. I started out in the snack booth, right, and then I was doing the handing out the skates and stuff, and then. Now I'm the cool ass dude, the referee joins and says, "Slow your ass down." "Hey, you, what's your number?" You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm a skate guard, but I'm also DJing there. So the guy that was the main DJ there knew I was DJing at Planet Hollywood, right? They had just hired another DJ that he didn't even want them to hire because he knew he was DJing at the other spot. The owner found out, fired him. So now they're short a DJ. And he's like, "You idiot. You got this guy on the floor. He's DJing at Planet Hollywood. He used to be DJing here." And I was like, "What, for real?" He was like, "All right, tell him to come to the office." Next thing you know, and then he hired me on the spot.
Just like, damn.
And I was there for, a long time. Wow. I was there for a while. But yeah, man, that was like.
You from Kendall area?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where me and my family moved to. When we moved from New York to Miami, it was Kendall.
It was Kendall.
Yeah. So I've spent many a year in Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
Many a spring break at the all-day skates.
You ever did the overnight joints? You ever did like the? Oh man, I guess they stopped that after those 10 kids died. But
what?
No, I'm playing. I'm joking. No, but there was a time when the whole rave scene started happening. Yeah, we used to do like this thing where it was like where they would literally, but not like literally, but. They would lock everybody in. It's an all-night skate. And you would come at like 10 o'clock, and it wouldn't be over till like 6 in the morning, and people would just come and skate all night and rave all night, whatever. Yeah, it was wild, man.
That's dope.
It was wild.
You come a long way.
Come a long way, man. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate your
man,
time.
this is fun,
energy.
man.
Nah,
Thank you for having me, man.
No, of course, man. I appreciate it. And
I feel so much flyer right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't even need the elevator to leave. Walk this way. You know what I'm saying?
and if you anything you need from me for IRIE Foundation, anything, man. Like you said, anybody else says yes.
Well, listen, man.
Let's
get you involved, on a big level this year.
I'm down, man. Let me know.
I love that,
man.
man.
You need, man.
I'll get you info.
All right. Dope.
But stay with me on that, though.
Absolutely. Dope.